all women are queens. If she breathes, she's a thought.
Come on, let's go through the street, looking for extra lips. I don't get fucked over mine, be ready to start, yeah. It's fucking whiskey time.
We're the unproducers. These are fucking lightsabers. This is Elysian space dust. And it would be whiskey time if this weren't fucking beer.
It's beer time.
We're talking about Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
Say to me, can you open my beer?
Can you open my beer?
Yes, I can.
Fuck you. Let's see if you actually can. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you.
Don't say that to me.
Okay, then well, fuck you.
You know why I drink a whiskey?
Why?
Because beer looks like piss, and it makes me anxious.
It makes me happy.
I'll keep the bottle. How about that?
Yeah.
We're talking about Knights of the Old Republic. It's a video game made by Bioware back when they weren't dog shit. So, Star Wars needs no introduction.
Doesn't it?
I don't think it does. Dudes fight with lightsabers. Let's just,
Base.
as succinctly as possible, describe your history / feelings towards about Star Wars.
It all started when I was born. Nah, I mean, I watched, like, the Star Wars movies, like, all as a kid. I played a few of the video games. Never played KOTOR as a kid. Because, you know, I wasn't a nerd. But, you know, I had lightsaber toys. I had fun with them. You know. It was chill. Jerk off to Star Wars porn, you know what it be.
It is what it are. They don't think it be like it is, but it do. Yeah, I've always been a fan of the franchise. Who at some point is not like has some degree of like interest in Star Wars as a kid, especially like people our age and up, just because it's a part of the
zeitgeist.
It's the part of the cultural lexicon, like
yeah.
So,
and like when we were growing up, we had
the prequels were coming out when we were young.
The prequels were coming out. You had the Genndy Tartakovsky show that was coming out when we were a kid. So, I mean, it was ever present. Plus, they had the toys and Legos, so, they were making Star Wars shit.
Yeah. Well, the slowest period for the franchise was really, like, from
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, exactly. So, ever since then, it's pretty much been about full throttle.
Especially after they got bought out by Disney.
Yeah, with some space after the episode 3. But even then, by then, there's just so many games and stuff always coming out.
Right.
So, but anyway, first real like RPG, Star Wars RPG that I'm aware of. I don't think there's really any other one that came before.
Like real like RPG. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So
it's one of the first things that it acts as a prequel, if I'm thinking correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it invented the Old Republic.
Right.
So, which is now like a staple portion of the timeline.
Well, what is now the expanded universe, or the Legend universe.
And,
makes me sick when I talk about it.
So, made by Bioware. What kind of your sort of typical Western RPG? I think it was their first one that was maybe Neverwinter Nights. I kind of forget the perspective on that one. But this is really one of their first one that was like 3D, as opposed to like an isometric kind of 3D view. So, had a behind the back, and it was actually made to be it came out on the Xbox like right at the same time. So that and Morrowind, they tried to make them Xbox sellers, and there's a lot of Western RPGs on the system. So it was kind of designed to function on the Xbox as well as the PC. We can kind of tell by how the interface works with the combat, but it's still, I mean, it doesn't feel like a console game when you play it.
Right.
But it's still very, like, it's got, like, the turn-based sort of, well, it's turn-based, but you can pause it. It's just like they're like Baldur's Gate and shit. It's the same kind of thing as that. And the story overall, I'm not going to get into, like, the big spoilers yet, but really, the nice thing about the story is that it's super Star Wars-y.
Yeah, really. I mean, yeah.
It's like a classic type of Star Wars story, pretty much.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You got your main character who is force sensitive. You don't know who he is. He just kind of wakes up, and then, he gathers his dudes, and he goes and fights the evil Sith Lord.
Yeah. Big band of dudes hanging out, epic adventure.
Yeah. Going to planets.
Just the sort of typical, like, hero's journey thing that the original trilogy was all about. It's that same kind of story.
Yeah.
But, of course, it's Bioware, so they gave a lot of love to the characters. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And...
Okay, we gotta talk about how goofy your main character is. Because there'll be times when... You play as Revan, okay? We'll just call him Revan.
Spoilers. We're full spoilers.
Yeah. So, there'll be times when you have Revan, like, hack a door, and he goes, no problem. Couldn't do it. It's just like, it's so good. Like, when he fails, he's like, yeah, no problem. Fails. Couldn't do it. And you're like, but you just said no problem. Couldn't do it.
And they kind of make goofy faces, too, because when you choose your dialogue, they don't talk, but when you choose the dialogue, it, like, shows their face, and they're just kind of, like, looking around, like...
And, like, all the helmets and stuff are, like, weird, stupid glasses.
Yeah, every time I play, I mod it so there's no helmets. on the player characters, because they'll be like decked out in some badass armor, and then they have like pink fucking condoms hanging off their ears. Like,
you look like Jordy LaForge.
Yeah, it's just
stupid.
It doesn't look good. Overall aesthetically, the game is all right. I like the design of the planets, but really aesthetically, it's a product of its time.
Yeah, the characters look like G.I. Joes.
It's not very stylized or anything.
No.
They kind of went with a more realistic for the time style, so it hasn't...
It's gross.
Hasn't aged as well. It's functional. The facial animation is decent enough.
Yeah.
The voice acting is actually, for the most part, I like it. For the most part. There's not enough alien dialogue, which is an endless source of fucking... endless source of fucking jokes. For me, every time I play it, because it's just, you're the same ass, like, you have a hut, and there's maybe 10 hut lines total.
Right.
So they say, guada bada guda bida. And then the next line, guada bada guda bida. And it's a completely fucking different sentence with the same ass.
Right. And, like, in lore, you can write it off as, those hut words all mean the same thing. When you said that way. I can't, justify it because it's just lazy and bad.
Yeah, it's just goofy.
Then all the Twi'leks talking this, like, the same, it's goofy.
Gotta stada, shidomino, kachi.
Kachi. It's like...
Yeah, it's just... But it's like, it really, like... It doesn't pull me out of the experience so much. For some people, I bet it could be a serious issue because they really pay attention. But I just kind of, like... don't listen to the actual things they're saying because I just read the words and then it's like, oh, the alien sounds are coming out of their mouth. All right.
Right.
But if you really like focus, it is kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
All the poor people who learned Twi'lek.
Yeah.
Now they're extremely disappointed.
Right. I'm sure that this is the game they're pointing to as the crowning achievement of Star Wars.
So, first Star Wars RPG, really one of the big, still, it came out in 2002, I think, so still 17 years later, almost 20 years later, still one of the top shelf sort of sci-fi RPGs in general. Like, if you ask, like, hey, what's a good sci-fi RPG, especially a sci-fi Western RPG, most of the time they're going to say KOTOR 1, usually KOTOR 2. There's some people who really don't like it, but so it's really, definitely well loved. I mean,
it's really the only one that when I think about that genre specifically is like the one that comes to mind.
I know a handful of other ones, but really, it's up there, basically. So, still well loved today. I mean, it's been released on the iPad, and
the iOS store. Yeah, I think you can get it on their phone too.
So,
it should be a horrible way to play that game, probably.
So definitely still a well loved game. Not a game that even though like aesthetically it's not the greatest anymore. I really don't think it's the kind of game that at this point needs a remake or anything.
No,
I would appreciate like a patch to get it more stable. Because how many crashes did we have when we played? Like
maybe 7 or 8.
That's
just what I remember.
I think the second time I played it on my old. This is probably 2013-ish. And I used the widescreen patch. I probably got a crash every 30 minutes.
Jeez.
And that patch, I think, pushed it over the edge. And ever since I've played it since then, like on kind of shitty laptops. It's such an old game. It's a game you can play on pretty much anything nowadays. And you'll still get crashes just because it's really not compatible with Windows 10. You kind of have to fucking fuck with it a little bit to get.
Bethesda game. It just as soon as it hits the PC, it kind of freaks out, kind of jitters there.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's not too glitchy, but there is some performance issues here and there. But besides that, I really don't think it's the kind of game that doesn't need a touch-up or...
No.
Like I said, 2 has gotten a patch that increases the support for more resolutions and the stability is better. I think that would pretty much all it needs. Maybe for some people, they can't go back to it, but I've never had a problem.
It would be something that I wouldn't be upset if I saw a remaster or a remake of.
Yeah, as long as... I wouldn't mind a remaster or a remake if it was mostly similar. They could, voice acting and stuff. I just don't want them to change too much or completely redo the gameplay or anything like that.
Right.
I don't trust them to do that and not fuck it up.
Right.
No, it is funny.
It's Bioware.
Speaking of plastic lightsabers, it is kind of funny when you play that... I've heard people complain about this, like legitimately, that when you become a Jedi and you're smacking a dude with fucking lightsabers.
Yeah, you shouldn't take more than one hit to kill somebody with a lightsaber.
And usually what happens is they're dodging, but even still it can take 10, 15 hits on a boss with a lightsaber.
Doesn't make any sense. How do you dodge?
That's the problem with lightsabers in video games.
Yeah, you can't balance them. It's impossible to balance a lightsaber. Unless they're like, oh, they're wearing lightsaber-resistant armor.
The only kind of game it'd work in is like a game where you're made, like... Are you familiar with Red Steel? Came out on the Wii around release. Okay, well, it had a sword thing with the Wii remote.
Of course.
So I think something like that. You know how Beat Saber now is out? Yeah. And so a game like that where the challenge is killing a million... Is it kind of like you kill dudes in one hit?
I want to say you killed most things in one hit.
Okay, well then Star Wars Connect. I don't have an Xbox. That kind of game.
If you had small children or small dogs, you killed them in about one hit too, because you're flailing your arms like a moron.
So yeah, overall, really, I don't think it's aged very poorly for the most part.
Aged like wine. Like a cheap wine.
Aged like
not a fine wine, but like a cheap wine.
Aged like cheese. It might stink a little bit, but it still tastes all right.
Yeah, all right. I agree with you on that one.
All right, so do you want to talk about kind of the overall story and the planets first, or do you want to get into the characters? And then...
we can do characters.
All right, so let's talk about the main party. Revan. And I know this is hard for you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, I know this is hard for you. Try to keep your knowledge to this game.
Oh, okay.
And then when we do 2, keep it to 1 and 2, and then whenever we talk about the Old Republic on the show, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point, the whole breadth of it.
Okay.
Because then, in the Old Republic, when we talk about Revan, we'll have something to talk about.
Okay.
Try.
Okay.
I know you're a learned man.
Yeah. I read a lot of wikis.
So, Revan. in this game, since he's he's the player character, you pretty much not a very definitive personality, obviously, because you're just kind of playing them how you play them. Besides, obviously, the fact that they turned to the dark side before the beginning of the story.
Right.
And became the Sith Lord. And
during the Mandalorian War. I can say that because they talk about it in the game.
Oh, yes. They definitely talk about it in the game. That's one of the biggest, like, setup. In terms of, like, the setting, that's one of the biggest things that caused the events of the game to happen.
Mandalorians are cool.
But besides that, it's really all up to you. Kind of how we've talked about before or after this video. Where pretty much you are their character. You know, it's an RPG. You are the character for the most part.
Yes.
And it actually works really well in Star Wars because in Star Wars the whole dichotomy is about the light side and the dark side. So it honestly just makes sense to allow you to be an evil douchebag or like a saint.
Okay, I gotta talk about the Bioware like affinity system in terms of Star Wars, because it's really stupid. Because
it's kind of like, it's a little bit dumb in Mass Effect too. It's better, and Mass Effect is not good and evil. It's like ruthless asshole to get stuff done, or willing to not take the most efficient route because you're a nice person. Right.
Well, and because in Star Wars it's like, oh, what's the light side? Light side helps people. They're good. They don't use their emotions and that's what the light side is. You know, you don't give into your emotions and everything. In BioWare Star Wars, it's you do something so stupidly good that it pretty much will probably hurt you in the long run. What's evil? Being a pragmatist. Being a pragmatist is evil.
And then, that is some of the time, but then some of the other times it's like, good is, here's your moral choice. Murder baby? Or give baby milk.
Right.
Those are not saintly, that's not a saintly action.
Right.
And this is, I mean, that's an issue with, like, the good, evil, moral dichotomy in games in general. Like, Fallout 3 is really funny about that too. Just
or you can like
save this child or sell him into slavery. Are you nice or are you a meanie? Well, who would who
save this old man from being robbed? Good guy points.
Kill him and his family. Burn his town down. Rape his corpse.
Right. It's like.
Give him a water bottle or shoot him in the face, like
right. It's stupid.
Yeah, and that is kind of how KOTOR is a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Now, what I do like is some of the evil shit you can do is so hilariously evil.
Right.
It's like we need to play through again and be evil sometime because it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's always like the best part. Like especially like playing a Sith character and playing an evil character and like SWTOR, because like what's the evil option half the time? Just shocking a dude. It's like this guy won't answer your question. Okay, it just says in parentheses electrocute him. or if you're a Sith warrior, it just says choke him. And you're like,
you gotta do it.
Do what you gotta do.
It's the only way.
So we have Karth, right?
Yeah.
Karth's cool. He's too much of like a pushy asshole half the time, especially on Terrace, because then he's not. Karth's a cop, bro. Karth's a cop. So Karth's not down for the fun shit.
What I like about Karth is that he seems like he's going to be okay, let me put it this way. What a lot of the games or whatever of Star Wars that follow the formula, like if we're saying KOTOR follows the formula of the original trilogy,
right?
It tricks you into assuming things about what's going to happen or the characters,
right?
So at first you kind of think Karth is going to be like maybe best bro, like Han Solo type character. And he's really not. I mean, he is like kind of your second in command, besides Bastila, you know. But he's like your Lancer, kind of.
Yeah.
But he really is never... He's not a rogue type character. I mean, he's a military man, and he's left, and he's really just like a tortured soul, and it kind of makes him... He comes off as like simultaneously like very pushy and aggressive about stuff, but then he's super defensive about like anything personal. Right. Because he doesn't want to connect with anybody, so he can be a little bit irritating, I think.
Yeah.
But once you find out all the stuff that's happened to him by the end, it does make sense. I mean, I don't think he's written badly, but he can be hard to like really be like, oh, this dude's my bro, just because I don't think he's supposed to be your bro necessarily.
Right.
Like
it's what Kinders is for.
He's always the one. He's the one who will always question you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when the Revan reveal happens, he's one of the first ones who's like, you know, you would think normally in this type of game, he would be the one like championing you. I can't fucking talk. Championing you. But really, he's the one that's like, you know, we got to be pragmatic. We got to be practical about this. I've been betrayed before. It's not going to happen again. So I do like how
Karth will stab you in your sleep and then go and, sleep like a baby.
I do like that in that way. He is a little bit of a subversion, and I think he's fleshed out. I liked his quest about his son. Yeah, you know, and he has a tie to the main plot with the Saul. I forget his last name, but it's Malik's General Saul. Yeah. Is the one who betrayed him and
Admiral Saul.
Admiral Saul, and like raised his home planet or his home city. I forget. I think it was a planet, but
Onderon.
That's right. I think it is Onderon.
Yeah, because it's the first planet in KOTOR 2.
That's right. So good character, like him. Yeah. Next, we T3M4, who you have since the beginning. He's fine. Not really characterized. Characterized less than like the droids in the movies, even. Yeah. Yeah. So he's there. He's a utility droid. I mean, you know, every once in a while there's a joke where, you know, it's like an R2D2 joke. You've seen it before. He's like beeping, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah," and somebody else is like, "What?" You know, and that's the joke. So he's fine. Fine enough. Then next one you meet is Mission.
You have forgotten Bastila.
Oh, you get Bastila after, right? You get Bastila right at the end of Terrace, right before the end. Oh, don't forget the guy on the Endar Spire, though. Oh, the guy who dies for you, bruh.
Bruh, I forgot. Doesn't he die to, God, what's the Dork Lord's name? The Dork Lord...
Darth Bandon?
He does the Darth Bandon. He's Dork Lord Bandon, bruh.
Yeah. Darth Bandon. Not the most frightening villain in the franchise.
All the Sith characters in Star Wars always have this problem of like, what's this menacing concept? Okay, let's take a couple letters off of it. There's your Sith name.
Darth Bandon.
Right. It sounds like a celebrity kid name. Oh, don't... Brandon Pontier, man.
Yeah, I'm quirky. My son's name's Brandon, but I took the R out.
Yeah, it's Bandon. More like I'm going to abandon that name after I turn 18.
Yeah. So he dies to Bandon. He's not fleshed out at all. He's hardly a party member.
I don't even remember his name.
No, I don't remember his name either. He's like a tutorial character.
Yeah. But he's your bro.
Yeah, he was there for you.
Yeah.
Then you have... Yeah, so next is Mission. Because you don't get Candors till the end of Terrace 2, so... Yeah. Mission is more of... Not a Han Solo type, but she is a smuggler, roguish type character. And she also has the main character's back pretty much from the beginning. Yeah. Especially if you help her with her brother later on.
Yes. And do you get Zalbar at the same time?
You have to go save Zalbar.
Oh.
Because he got captured by who are the fat pig dudes?
Oh, no.
Those guys.
Yeah, God. The Troidian? No, not Troidian. Fuck.
The Troidians are the Greedos.
No, those are Rhodians.
Oh, shit.
Troidians are Wattos, I'm pretty sure.
You keep thinking about it in the background. Or look it up.
Yeah, I'm about to.
Just look it up.
I'm about to look it up.
That's fine, just look it up.
God, I can't forget.
Star Wars Pigman. Race name. The unknown race of gender master vodka.
Gamorreans. By the Gamorreans.
What is wrong with us?
I don't know.
That's like
Don't look at me, bro.
That's like the first race in Star Wars I knew. Like humans and Gamorreans.
The Greenos.
They look like orcs.
Yes.
So the Gamorreans. Anyway, not even relevant to Mission, really. But so
We just had to know, though.
Mission is the rebellious. She's also the rebellious. Like, don't treat me like a kid type because she's 14, and she would always like.
Is she 14 in human years or in Twi'lek years?
We're not going to answer that question. Both.
Oh, okay.
They're the same years.
Are they?
One TARDIS year is 7 Earth years. So there's that aspect to her character as well. And here's one thing I like about the game is that depending on who the characters you have with you, because you have 2 party members out at a time, sometimes they'll have dialogue together.
Yeah.
So it's fun to hear like Karth try to like be all dad like to Mission, and she's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do and all this other shit. Don't treat me like a kid, Karth.
Shut up, old man.
Yeah. So those are like every character has.
You're such a good dad. You wouldn't have lost your son.
Every character has those with each other, and those are all really fun. Like I said, but when you play Bioware, you pretty much that's the main thing that I expect from a Bioware game is like a strong cast of characters. So
right,
and so I like that her brother abandoned her story just because it shows like
he abandoned her.
Yeah, he abandoned her. It shows like the shitty. She's a good like example of like. Through no fault of her own, she's stuck in the lower city.
Right.
While, like, you have these, like, bigots up top and all the Sith coming down and just killing people. And she serves also as a good example just to flesh out Taurus a little bit and, like...
Right.
Yeah, like... Poverty's a bitch, bro.
Being an alien, not fun.
Yeah. Even though there's more of them than humans, pretty much, right?
Humans are still like everywhere.
Like ants.
Yeah, sure. If you want to go there.
Zalbar. Anything you wanted to say else about Mission?
Not really. Since you're limiting me to this game, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
She's a good character, and I like her.
Yes.
She's funny.
Yeah.
Zalbar. Not too much to say about Zalbar. He's
a Wookiee.
He's a Wookiee.
He
swears a life debt to you after you save him from slavers, and he has some backstory stuff on Kashyyyk because of the situation there.
Yeah.
Which fleshes him out a little bit. He's got family issues, and he was kicked out for
using his claws, which is bad.
You don't do that. You don't use the claws.
You don't use your claws. It means you're feral. They're like GTFO, Zalbar.
But eventually, depending on what you do, actually, but. If you're like us, we played light side last time we played, so.
Okay, can we talk about what you can do with your dark side?
Yeah, whenever. Feel free to.
Because Zalbar is like worst example.
Oh, I was going to mention. So while we're just talking, in relation to Zalbar, so dark side, my favorite. Most games will not do this. If you're evil, your dudes will follow you, like they don't care. But it's near the end of the game, they will be like all your characters. If you're evil, well, most of them will be like, this evil shit, it's not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly, buddy. And you're like, okay, I will just kill you. But you can have Zalbar murder Mission. And then because he owes his life debt to you, so he has to like do what you say. And then in like a fiery anger, he attacks you and then you just kill him. And it's honestly, one of the most evil things you can do in any fucking game. It's
so fucked.
It's off the hook.
Because doesn't he owe her a life debt too? Or are they just like really
No,
good
there's
friends?
buddies. He doesn't owe her a life debt, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
He's just like attached,
Yeah.
They care about each other, so.
Make him kill her. Oh, man.
Christ.
So messed up.
But, He's good. Like I said, he's not just... He does have, like, the whole backstory on his...
He's Chewbacca.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zalbar is more fleshed out in KOTOR than Chewbacca is in the original trilogy.
You're not incorrect.
Even in the prequel trilogy, honestly. He's
Chewbacca,
basically a cameo in the prequel trilogy.
He literally
He, like, high-fives Yoda.
It's good. It will be good. I will see you again. Chewbacca. It's like...
You can't even tell it's Chewbacca.
Right. They all look the same.
You definitely aren't important in the movies that take chronologically place after this.
Right.
Chewbacca. Say it slow so... Oh, God, George Lucas, man. You put that in there so he hopes people in the theater, like, lose their shit, like, oh, my God, he's fucking Chewbacca!
Right. I'm surprised, like, kid Han Solo never showed up in the movie.
Yeah. Just, like, hanging out with the Jedi, even though he talks about never having seen one before.
Well, they made a Lego movie. One of the Lego Star Wars movies that they made is about Han Solo going on a field trip with Jedi. He's like, well, I've never heard of the Force.
They're, like, picking him up, putting him in the ship with the Force. How did you do that? The Force.
What's that? What you talking about?
I will conveniently forget this.
What you talking about?
It's the problem with prequels. You got to be careful. That's why, even though this is a prequel to the original trilogy, it is so far removed completely from anything to do with anything else that they were basically allowed to do whatever they want.
Right.
Which is actually really smart.
Right.
And the other thing it lets them do is they can have, like, Tatooine.
Right.
Like familiar planets, but they can be really different, and there's a reason why.
Right. Exactly.
So it can be semi-familiar,
yeah,
but at the same time, it's a lot different.
And plus, you can also have, like, you know how, like, the Jedi will... Some scenes of, like, in the Jedi and the prequels, like, will mention something about, oh, this happened, and, like, they can, like, also allude to it in a way, and they, and Dantooine's never shown in the movies.
Yeah.
They mention it in episode 6. It's never shown. You don't know about it. You don't know anything about it. So that's kind of nice where they can kind of go, okay, well, what do we want to make Dantooine? Because it's never been shown, so they don't know.
And that's what originally. That's how especially episode 4, but even 5 and 6 and 2 and that's especially the original trilogy. It was written where there was stuff put in the script or in the background that really was never explained.
Right.
Or necessarily intended to be explained for a long time. Clone Wars is the most famous example. George Lucas had no idea what the fucking Clone Wars was until he was writing the...
Right, because you can take that two ways. Was it, like, the Republic, or I guess in your mind it'd be the Empire, fighting against a dude with just a bunch of clones? Or were, the clones... Yeah, you just don't know.
And they just mention all kinds of...
And
the Kessel Run, all this other shit is just mentioned.
Right. And another thing, too, that's kind of neat where, it's acting as such a large prequel. You can add stuff, and since it's... Star Wars is a whole galaxy, like a big as fuck galaxy, you can just throw planets, like Manon. Manon's never mentioned in anything ever, and it's just like, fish dudes. Have fun.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. It's interesting. And the stuff that they add is fleshed out enough to where it feels like it's part
like it belongs,
of...
yeah.
Yeah, it belongs.
Yeah. So, in general, just with the whole... It was a good pick to have that... Pretty much everything they did in regards to how they structured the story and where they set the time period and the planets they chose and all this stuff was all really well done, I think.
What do you need for a successful Star Wars anything? Jedi, some sort of problem that needs to be solved with somebody using the dark side. That's all you need. For me, it'd preferably be the Sith. But, you don't necessarily need the Sith. And, and KOTOR added stuff to the, now it is the Legends, that gets used throughout, literature, games, and all this other stuff that it became part of the whole. Manon and Kolto and all this other stuff, like, to the, like, major outer, the like, Star Wars as a whole.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this little thing that kind of existed and didn't really add anything.
Yeah.
It became like a major part of the foundation of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's pretty remarkable considering, just some random fucking game.
Right.
But it was that well done where...
Yeah.
Like... And it could have just appealed to everybody too, because you don't really need to know that much about Star Wars to play it, because it explains everything to you.
Right.
But for
But it doesn't spoon feed it.
But yeah. But it doesn't treat you like an idiot, because then that would make it unbearable for fans.
Right.
So it appeals to everybody. Next characters.
Well, another thing too about it being such a good prequel, like so far removed as a prequel, they don't have to redo the stuff that the movies did.
Yeah.
So that way, fans are like, oh, here's this new thing with Star Wars. Like, who are these characters? I can kind of get into it, and there's no chance of doing characters that exist already wrong.
Yeah.
Because you can't do your own characters wrong.
Yeah.
They're not going to have Han Solo and they just did Han Solo wrong. You know how much that'll, piss people off.
Yeah.
It's like that was the NES version of Star Wars, the Japanese game where, you never fight Darth Vader, you fight weird animals that start out as Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader turns into a scorpion and shit.
Right. What is this?
This is what I wanted.
Right. I mean, as a concept, it's kind of cool. It's Darth Vader's animality.
God damn it. Canderous. A true lad.
Yes.
Canderous has some of the best dialogue in the game, because he will just tell you about how badass it was to fight in the Mandalorian Wars. Yeah, and how much his life has sucked shit ever since.
Right. He's like, I was out here killing the Cathar for fun.
He's like, now I'm a bodyguard and I want to kill myself. But back in the day, I was flying out of the Mandalorian battleship towards the planet, slaughtering on the way down, and it was the best moment of my life fighting Revan.
Right. He's like, you kicked our ass so hard that I'm going to follow you for the rest of my life.
Yeah. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And he will follow you, regardless of what you do. Like, when he finds out you're Revan, he doesn't care if you're good or evil. He's like, you're Revan, so I'm following you.
Yeah, he's like, you're Revan? That means you're the Mandalore, so I'm going to hang out with you.
You are, in fact, the dude.
and you abide, so I'm going to hang out.
And, Bastila is the next character, the last one you get on Taurus.
Is she really the last one?
You get on Taurus.
Oh, I thought you got her way before. I thought you got her third or fourth.
Because you get her after. Well, you get her.
Don't you get her after the swoop bike race?
Yeah.
So
you get her before Canderous.
Yeah. Because you get Canderous at literally the end when you fight that bounty hunter guy.
Yeah. You fight Davik and the.
Oh, right.
What is that guy's name?
I don't remember.
The bounty hunter with the fucking specs.
He's got the goggles and the hat.
Calo Nord.
Okay, yes. Calo Nord.
He's throwing the grenades.
Yeah.
I got the one guy, he's like, you have till 3. Then he just rolls a grenade at him.
Oh, man.
Oh, what a chump.
Star Wars characters are the best. Because you can just make them such assholes and it makes sense.
Speaking of Terrace, before we get to Bastila, my favorite thing on Terrace is the dueling. Because the characters are all goofy.
Yeah.
You have Ice. You have the one guy lost his trigger finger.
Yeah, right.
So he's trying, but he fucking sucks.
Oh.
You have Bendak Starkiller.
Speaking of, one of my favorite things about playing this game with Tyler was watching him suck shit at Pazak.
Yeah, I tried.
It was rough.
To be fair, there's not a whole lot you can do besides.
It's it was like when we played New Vegas. You suck shit at Caravan too.
You know what? I played Caravan twice. I've played that game probably 7 or 8 times at least. I really don't know how to play Caravan. Never have really learned how to play Caravan. So apparently, you can make a lot of money.
Apparently,
as I understand, if you have 8 or 9 luck, just go to the casino, play 2 games of Caravan, roll, then do roulette or whatever, and you're rich. So
nice.
Maybe someday. So, Bastila. Probably the most... I would say, The secondary main character. She's pretty much like the secondary character.
She's very much embroiled in the plot.
She's embroiled in the plot. She's got the battle meditation that makes her...
A MacGuffin?
Yeah, well, no, not exactly, because the MacGuffin's like, we gotta go get that.
Well, we had to go get her.
Yeah, but not like, it's not like... MacGuffin's like, we have to go get the whole plot revolves around getting the super egg from Fart Mountain. So we gotta go to Fart Mountain and get the super...
Right.
That's the plot.
Right.
When the super egg is the plot, and Fart Mountain is the destination because of the super egg, then that makes...
Okay.
But there is like that power is kind of MacGuffin-y,
right?
Because everyone's fighting over it,
right?
And therefore her. But BioWare has become known for their romance, but this is very subtle compared to what you would come to expect from BioWare, where you're like plowing alien ass like every 15 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
That's
that's what I want to do in a Star Wars game.
But with Bastila, it's very like...
Yeah, it's very...
It takes place over the course of the whole game. It feels very like... To me, it always felt really natural.
Yeah.
Either way. But especially, you know, if you do...
Well, because it's kind of implied that... Didn't they have some sort of relationship when Revan was still a Jedi, too?
No, they didn't even know each other, really.
Oh.
I think she knew of him.
Oh, I'm thinking of different character. My bad.
Okay, so it's probably one of my favorite game romances in general, just because it feels like developed and it makes sense.
Yes,
it makes sense for the characters, unless like,
and it doesn't happen until the end.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen like halfway through the game, and then like all the dialogue that they have between each other
just goes back to normal.
The game, like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like the culmination of their characters by the end. If you do it, you don't even have to do it, but
right. And don't you? Yeah, you have to like go and like solve her problem with her mom, and then do you have to be the same alignment to do it, or is it only like light side
to do the romance?
Yeah,
for it to work.
Yeah.
No, you can do it when you're dark side, I think, too, but then you obviously don't save her from... Because when she falls to the dark side at the end...
Right, yeah. I forgot.
You can, if you have, like, persuasion and shit, and you have done her quest, then you can bring her to... Have her come back if you have enough light side, or if you were in a romance and you say the right things, you can be like, but I love you, so let's, don't be an evil bitch. Yeah. I was an evil bastard, but don't be an evil bitch.
Just be the regular bitch you were before. That's the bitch I fell in love with.
Plus, she has like the yellow
double blade. Yeah, that shit's hot.
When was the first yellow lightsaber? When was that? Do you know?
The first one ever.
Because let me tell you the first one I remember. Who's the guy in the prequel trilogy who's got the Conan and the white facial hair?
Oh, Ki-Adi-Mundi?
Ki-Adi-Mundi. He
does not have yellow.
I know, but he had a yellow... I'm almost positive he had a yellow lightsaber in the Phantom Menace video game.
Oh! Shit, I think you're right. Fuck, it's been a while since I played that, but I think...
For the PS1.
Might be correct.
We'll have to find out. No one gives a flying fuck, so I don't even know why we're talking about it, but...
That brings me to a different point. The first one that I can think of is probably this game. Like, chronologically in time, I think it's probably this game. I think this... Phantom Menace came out before this game came out.
Yeah, this game came out in 2002, I believe.
And Phantom Menace came out in 1999. So, it's probably not the first use of a double-bladed lightsaber, but the first...
Yeah, I just meant yellow.
It's probably the first visual representation of a yellow lightsaber. There's probably a yellow lightsaber in like some book somewhere that I just haven't read, but it's probably like the first visual representation of one that I can think of.
So,
when did the Phantom Menace video game come out?
I think 99 or 2000.
Okay, so might be that chronologically then. Yeah. Whatever.
I'm curious, but nobody gives a fuck.
Right, somebody does.
So I like Bastila.
Yellow sucks. Looks like piss. It's a piss stick.
So, I like Bastila. Good character.
Yes.
pretty much in a lot of ways, like, not more than Revan.
I would equate her to, like, I'm trying to think of, like, another character that's, like, really cool, but also a fucking bitch all the time. Like,
she's kind of like Leia at first.
Yeah.
Like, in episode 4, Leia is standoffish.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, like, she's kind of like Yukari from P3.
I think it's very easy with every character to trace them back to a character that was in the original trilogy, and kind of, the seedling is the same.
Right.
For that character. Like, it's like they took the seedling, and then they took it in a different direction. Right. A lot of the time. That's, for most of the characters, I get that impression.
You know, some characters have, like, the same, like, base character from a movie, and it kind of grew in a different direction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Next character you get is Juhani.
She's a Cathar, which they're cat people.
She's a former slave.
Is she? Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Don't you end up taking her to fight her former owner?
Yeah. Or, like, the guy who sold her or whatever, but...
Yeah.
Revan was actually the one who originally, like, freed her group of people.
Yeah, her...
So, Revan's the whole reason that she wanted to become a Jedi in the first place, and she was able to after she went to Dantooine. And the first time you find her, she killed her master. Like, she
by accident.
Succumbed to the dark side and killed her master, yeah.
Yeah. And then...
So, the first time I ever played a game, I actually killed her, because I didn't even know you could recruit her. So I kept waiting for the final companion. I was like, what the fuck happened? I was like, where?
Baby Tyler's like, we're the last party.
But I like that that's an option.
Yeah.
Because she's like, you know.
Can't you completely miss Jolie too?
No, you have to have Jolie.
Oh.
He's mandatory.
I did not know that.
HK is optional.
I see.
I think everybody's mandatory except for Juhani and HK.
I see.
I don't think you need HK. Speaking of HK-47, depending on Juhani you have to get, but Jolie and HK you can get in different orders. But
right.
I usually go to Tatooine first. So
right. So Juhani, she's a very interesting character. I think. I just hate her design. It grosses me out. Like her head.
Yeah, she is kind of weird looking
and creepy.
Yeah, I mean, she's not the most fleshed out of the group, but she does have a lot of. Her quest to kill the one guy's pretty simplistic, but you know she is fleshed out still, where you find out her backstory and her reasons for doing stuff, and there's lots of what I like about the party members is that they all have their own alignment. So depending on your alignment, they react differently to you. Like,
right.
So she fell to the dark side. Now she's trying her best to, like, stay on the light side. So if you're light side, then you can be like, you know, giving her advice and shit. But if you're on the dark side, you can be like, oh, come on. Oh, that felt good, didn't it?
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
So, which is nice.
I killed my master, too.
It makes the game a lot more replayable when
yeah,
you can completely approach every situation differently. So HK-47. I mean, he's pretty much a comic relief character. He has some tie to like Revan.
Meatbag.
He was Revan's
assassin
droid. Yeah. And you meet some more assassin droids in KOTOR 2, and it's just funny after knowing HK-47. But he's pretty much he's mostly just a comic relief character.
Yeah. He calls everybody meatbags.
Yeah, he just
wants to kill every organic life form.
He's like the English guy. Bastila has like an English accent kind of, but he's like just like a drunk English asshole basically is his character.
He's Bender.
Yeah. He kind of is.
Yeah.
I like him.
Great.
He's funny. Yeah, there's a reason why he's so well loved. It's because he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
He's a comic relief character of like the best kind.
Yeah.
So, but I don't have too much to say on him. I like him.
Yeah.
He's good. And then our final character, Jolie Bindo.
Yes.
Probably my favorite character.
Mace Windu.
No.
Yes.
Jolie Bindo's way better than Mace Windu. It's not even close. Mace Windu doesn't even do anything.
He kills Jango Fett. Has a purple lightsaber. and he fights Sidious, and then gets thrown out the window. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He also lets Anakin be on the council, but does not grant him the rank of master. That's what he does.
Jolie Bindo is like he's the mentor character.
He's true neutral.
He's the mentor character, kind of, but he's portrayed as, like, to me, my favorite kind. Like, Grey Jedi means a couple different things.
They suck. They're stupid. Grey Jedi suck. Either be a Jedi or be a Sith, you loser. I'm gonna be in the middle. I'm gonna use my emotions, but for good. Come on, you dork. Just be evil already. Come on.
You know Jolie's the best, don't even say.
Jolie's great, but he'd be cooler if he was a Sith.
Jolie Bindo, characters like Jolie Bindo and like honestly Obi-Wan Kenobi is similar to, because he's not completely emotionless.
Right, but you're wrong there. That's a complete disregard of Obi-Wan's characterization, bro. Obi-Wan is so dedicated to the Jedi and the Republic. He may have his emotions, but he doesn't use them. You know.
Oh, he does. I think he does.
He doesn't.
I don't think he thinks he does.
No, you're wrong. I'm telling you, you're wrong.
And especially when he decides to, like take on Luke later on, it reflects that aspect as well.
I don't think so.
Because he doesn't.
It's his dedication to the Jedi and the Republic that does that. It's not.
I don't think
it's emotional. No.
If it's not emotional, then why would he lie to Luke about what had happened to his dad?
Why would you tell Luke his dad's Darth Vader? One of the most evil dudes in the galaxy. Why would you do that?
Why would you not? I mean, what reason do you have to lie about it?
What reason do you have to tell him the truth? Do you really think Luke's gonna go, you know, Ben, I think I want to be a Jedi and go fight Darth Vader. Fight my dad, Darth Vader. I think that'd be a terrible decision to make. Also, I don't think George Lucas had thought of it yet.
Oh, no. I'm not saying George Lucas thought of it.
Right.
George Lucas is a fraud.
Right. I'm
just saying that's always the impression that I've gotten.
He's dedicated to democracy. The Republic.
I think he is dedicated to the Republic. I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah.
I don't think he's dedicated to the letter of the law. I think he's dedicated to the spirit of the law. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Jolie's not
that
way either, though.
I'm not saying they're the same character.
That's what you were implying.
I'm saying that they're in the same spectrum.
Was implicit. You and me are on the same spectrum. Obi-Wan and Jolie are not.
Because what I see as
Obi-Wan's nowhere close to a Grey Jedi.
Yeah, I don't agree with you at all.
No. Jolie and Qui-Gon Jinn definitely Qui-Gon.
We'll have to have this argument later.
Okay.
Jolie Bindo's a good character.
Yeah, he is.
His side quest, though. His side quest though is kind of. It's just like
what even is it?
It's the dude who's on trial in Manan for murdering the.
Oh, the Imperial spy chick, right? Yeah, he totally did it.
Oh yeah, he did it. I like the quest. It just doesn't have anything to do with Jolie.
Right. Well, it's his buddy.
But I like Jolie's backstory he tells about.
Yeah, his wife fell to the... Well, first of all, he got married as a Jedi, which is a big no-no. He went to fight the Mandalorian War, right? And that's where they got married?
I think so.
Yeah, and his wife never...
No, it was before that. It was before that. It wasn't the Mandalorian War. Because it was when he was young. He's been on... I think he says he's been on Kashyyyk for like 30 years or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then why'd she fall to the dark side?
There was a war.
Oh.
I just don't remember which war it was.
Oh, right.
When Exar Kun happened.
Oh, right. With Exar Kun and Caldroma. Okay, gotcha. I remember.
I think. I'm not positive.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Exar Kun's a good
he's out here talking about like the Jedi I tell you not to love, but you can love. Just be careful because it's gonna go bad.
Right.
So which can influence your decision to do this whole thing with Bastilon. Obviously, because obviously, even if you're light side in that game, you're not. If you romance, you're not leading hard into the ideals of
the Jedi,
the letter of the law necessarily.
Well, the Jedi,
and I think that's emblematic of Revan in general.
I think people too hard tie in the light side. The light side is the Jedi, and the dark side is the Sith. No, the dark side.
They're definitely different.
Yeah, they're not.
They're definitely not the same
Jedi
thing.
use the light side.
I think for the most part, if you don't have to play this way, but in KOTOR 1, if you play hard light side, for the most part, the game asks you to behave according to the Jedi Code for the most part.
Right. Yeah.
Which you don't necessarily have to do.
Correct.
Obviously.
You can be a light side person and not, follow the Jedi Code.
That's what's a little bit annoying about me, about Jolee in the game. Like his karma meter. Because it's gray. But he doesn't have gray karma. Like, he'd if he had, let's say you were playing as Jolee, and Jolee had made all the decisions he would make, he would be, towards the top of the light. But they want to, he's not exactly, he's not a Jedi. So they put him in the middle, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. The Grey Jedi are just weird. They're a weird concept that I'm not necessarily...
That's what I'm saying. There's 3 different things that
right.
have the name Grey Jedi, and they're not the same thing, and it's confusing, too.
Right, and then, because you also have Dark Jedi, which doesn't make any sense. Because you're not a Jedi if you're dark. But you're not necessarily a Sith either. Because, here's the thing. Darth Malak, not a Sith.
Not exactly, no.
He's a dark side user who took the name Darth.
Well, and that's the problem when you get into the nitty gritties of all these is all these different terms that get used for different shit.
Right.
And it's super confusing. Like in KOTOR, all of the people who use the dark side and use lightsabers and shit that you would call, you can call them Sith if you want. The Sith is in KOTOR, the Sith is the army.
Right.
The Sith Lords...
Doesn't make any sense.
The Sith Lords are...
Well, actually, that does, because when you would call... Well, no, you wouldn't call, people... Because in the Sith Empire, they're called Imperials. They're not called, I am a Sith Imperial. No, you're an Imperial. You're a Sith if you're part of the Order of the Sith. Or, the hierarchy of, the Sith starting with, an Acolyte to, the Emperor. You're not... If you're not in that, you're not a fucking Sith, okay? If you didn't get trained by a dude who got trained by Darth Bane, you're not a fucking Sith. Okay?
And so then you have... Then the Dark Jedi are just those guys.
Yeah.
They use the Force and they serve under...
Darth Malak.
The Sith Lords, yeah. Or Malak, specifically.
Yeah. Malak ain't got no lower jaw, bro.
And then later on, as time has went on and with different mediums and stuff, they call it different things. So you have people who call Grey Jedi, people who are in the middle of the spectrum of the Force. Then you have people who call Grey Jedi dudes who use the light side, but they aren't aligned with the Jedi Order necessarily, or they don't follow the Jedi Code.
Right. They may still, even be within the Jedi Order itself.
Yeah. But
they just don't follow the rules necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Qui-Gon Jinn. That's basically what Qui-Gon Jinn did. Qui-Gon Jinn was like, yeah, I'm just going to let the Force just tell me what to do, where to go. And that's what we're doing.
And fuck y'all.
Yeah, basically.
I'm taking Anakin on as my pupil.
But you can't. You already have an apprentice. He's ready for the trials.
So, speaking of Malak, I like Malak because he's not the most interesting character in the world, but I just like that he's it was just Revan's dumbass buddy.
Well, it was his Padawan.
When they became Sith, yeah.
I thought they were...
No, he wasn't. Revan wasn't a master.
You don't have to be a master to have an apprentice.
No, but Malak wasn't his apprentice, though.
I thought he was.
He was not.
No.
When they became Sith...
Yeah. Always two there are.
Yeah.
That's false. But...
But so he was like his dumbass buddy, and then they became Sith, and he's like, "All right, I'm your boss now." And then Malik eventually like had him like
blown up
like the most pussy way possible.
Yeah, Malik's a bitch.
And then he takes over with his no jaw ass.
How did he lose his jaw? Did they ever say?
I forget.
I don't think they ever say.
They might not. I like the scene where he has his jaw off and he like turns around to talk to.
He looks like a ventriloquist dummy without the lower jaw. He's like,
yeah, and there's like the middle.
Yeah, like his little voice box thing in there. It's gross.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit gross.
A little bit, my ass. It's really gross.
But that's pretty much
basically Darth Vader.
No.
You know, former Jedi, gets all fucked up a little bit.
like, if you describe it like that, he is, but in terms of, like, his character, he's not.
Yeah, no, not as far as his character.
He's really, like, his character is, like, stupid asshole. Evil, stupid, like, I will blow up the planet!
Right.
Like, that's his character, like...
he literally does.
I know.
He blows up terrorists. Are we going to talk about the Starforge?
We should.
Yes. Starforge is, like, one of the coolest concepts I think
I like the Starforge, but then the whole... God, what do they call it in the game? The old civilization of...
The Infinite Empire?
The Infinite Empire.
Or the Rakantan Empire. The Rakantan... Yes, you do meet the Rakantans.
Yeah, you go to the Rakatan planet, yeah.
Yeah. Ricotta. Like the cheese.
There you go. You got it.
Yeah. They're cool. They were like... Yo, we're these cool...
What I like is that there's always something more. Like, there's always something more. Yeah. There's always something before. There's always a mystery. You know?
You're like, okay, the Infinite Empire built this Starforge. I'm going to need to figure out how to find it, what it does. So you go to the Rakantan planet, and the dudes who are, like, super advanced, now they're, like, weird, like, tribalistic assholes. Yeah. You're like, what happened? I don't know. Don't worry about it.
What I like about the Starforge is it's in the vein of the Death Star because it's like a super weapon, but it's not the same thing. Like, it's a different kind of weapon. Well, yeah, because it creates a fleet.
It can create anything. Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool concept,
as opposed to some other Star Wars stuff, which just has like the Death Star 3,
right,
or the Deather Star,
right. Like, that's what I hate about Force Awakens, right? It's just a New Hope again.
Yeah, it's just a Death Star, but it blows up a bunch of planets instead of one.
Right. It's dumb. It's bad.
So, I like the Starforge in concept.
Yeah.
As a final dungeon, I'm not that big of a fan of it. It goes on too long. It takes forever. It's actually kind of hard.
Yeah, and it wasn't, like, interesting to, like...
It's just waves of dudes.
Yeah, it was.
I like the final boss. It's because I like that he's got, like... Malik has dudes, like, hooked up to the machines. He, like, sucks their life energy to heal himself. I like that.
It's an interesting concept.
But... And I like Malik's final scene, regardless.
What does he say again? It was so goofy.
Oh, I forget. I'd have to look it up. I like it, though.
Yeah. He's like, the dark finally comes for... It was like a Kingdom Hearts scene. It was like, the darkness comes.
Kingdom Hearts is just baby Star Wars.
Is it? I guess it's owned by Disney now, so yeah.
But the story's more consistent.
Oh, no. It's because he's right.
All right. We didn't go to the beat by beat of planets, but I think we pretty much talked about the main stuff on most of them, so...
Yeah, I mean, we probably should touch a little bit on, like, you know, Manon is a new planet.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, they got the fish dudes.
Got the Kolto
farms.
Kolto, they describe their economy in a way that makes sense, and like the whole setup of how you get to the planet and how you move around the planet and the politics of the planet are all explained. It's good shit. It's fleshed out.
Yeah.
I like their judicial system.
Yes. I like that they did not have to squeeze Coruscant into this game.
I'm glad.
Yes.
Also.
Because Coruscant kind of sucks. Because you already go to Nar Shaddaa in this game, right?
No.
No, it's in 2. Forgot. My bad.
But you go to Tar. Like the first.
Yeah, Terrace is basically just Coruscant.
Yeah, it's just a city-wide planet. And did they invent Terrace for this game? Right?
I believe they did, yes.
So, I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't allowed to do Coruscant, because wasn't Coruscant like around ever since which movie, one of the original trilogy it's mentioned or something, right? It's been around, I know that, but the first time it was ever in a movie and showed off...
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been mentioned, I don't remember.
I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't allowed to touch it, but I'm glad they just made their own planet. It's the same concept of a city-wide or planet-wide city, but it's just they did their own thing with it, and they...
Right.
Once again, it has like an ecosystem to it, and that's what I like about... Every planet isn't that big in the game, but they all feel like unique, and they all have their... It all makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like a place for you to run through.
Right.
It feels like an actual place where people are doing their jobs and they have day-to-day lives and shit.
Right. Yeah. That's what I feel like is sort of a problem with like some games that have multiple areas, like different planets. You know, you see like the same types of dudes doing the same type of shit.
Yeah,
it's boring.
Yeah, like if I drive 3 hours north, like dudes have a different lifestyle than me, so you're expecting me on a different planet?
And a completely different accent, let's be honest.
So you're
These fucking Michiganders, bro.
So you're telling me that if I go to a different fucking planet, they have the exact same like culture as,
right.
completely?
No,
I mean, to some extent, Star Wars is the planets have some degree of homogenization because it's a big society, but at the same time, it is nice that they're differentiated and all that shit is good stuff.
Yeah. What would you say is your favorite moment?
In KOTOR, shit fucking... It's a little bit cheesy, but I think the moment with Revan and Bastila, if you do the romance, or the final boss and like Malik's death scene.
We need to insert it.
I'll insert it.
Okay.
What about
because
yours?
It's like fucking based. I would say the whole thing with Mission's brother, where like you talk to him, he's like, "Yeah, no, like I don't need your help. What are you talking about? I don't need your help.
I'm just trapped in the Tusken Riker fortress."
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I like that whole thing was kind of neat. Like helping Mission out.
Yeah, because like
I would say that Mission's my favorite character in this game.
I like Mission a lot. She's cool.
Yeah.
Good character.
I like the part when like she helps break you out too.
Yeah.
Out of the prison, yeah.
It doesn't have to be her too either. That's who we did, but you can do it. Like I think every character almost.
Oh.
Yeah.
You choose. Remember
you choose.
Oh right. I forgot. But yeah.
So, I think I usually pick her because she's the sneaky one.
Right.
So
Doesn't she have like the hacking skill too?
I think she has a decent hacking skill. I think T3M4 is the best, but
remember that? What was that one part on Terra? I think it was on Terrace or something. I don't remember. You had to fight this giant like spider robot, and you kept getting your ass beat by it.
Spider robot.
Yeah, it was like I think it was on Terrace or something. It kept shooting a laser at you or something.
Spider robot. Fuck. I remember what you're talking about. I remember exactly where it's at. Yeah, the difficulty balance is a little wild. Like sometimes you'll just fight out of nowhere. There'll be just a fight that's like fucking bonkers.
Right. It's like an intern's hand slipped or something.
Yeah.
It's like fuck Tyler in particular.
Look how my party wiped.
Wiped like my asshole.
It is what it is, but overall, good
Great
shit.
game.
Good shit.
Monumental game.
One of my favorite Star Wars things. As just a self-contained...
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's not better than the holiday special, but...
It's up there.
It's up there, yeah. Yeah.
Next time, on Whiskey Time.
Maybe actually whiskey this time.
Well, that was pretty easy. Fuck. Jesus Christ.
And in the end, as the darkness takes me, I am nothing